conspiracy theories, the paranormal, UFOs, aliens, and all things strange and unusual. This is Black Lotus. And it is so hot today. It's like 111 degrees out today.
But it's a dry heat.
Oh, God, yeah. Let's talk about humidity. We're going to be talking about humidity, yeah. We're going to be talking about chemtrails today. And humidity has a lot to do with it. So what do you got on this? Hit me.
Don't tempt me. Well, first of all, chemtrails seem that, like, if they're chemtrails and contrails, chemtrails are not going to dissipate like a contrail would.
Okay.
That's what it seems to be the most, how you tell the difference.
And why is that? I've heard that it has a lot to do with humidity.
Well, it has to do with, on contrails, it would be due to the humidity but on chemtrails, it's because the chemicals, which make them stay up for hours instead of just minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that people are so readily, believe that there's some sort of government conspiracy behind this, but they don't believe the science behind it, insofar as that, it has to do with the weather conditions. However, it's even hard to convince me, even though I'm a huge believer in science, it's hard to convince me about this because I see this happen all the time. You see all these trails in the sky, and the next thing you know, you've got thunderheads overhead. And when it's a perfectly, prior to that, it was a perfectly blue day. So it's hard to convince even somebody like me that it has something to do with that.
Well, I say that I don't think all these trails that we see are always chemtrails. I think most of them are contrails, but I am convinced that there is something else going on out there.
Yeah.
Just because, like you said, the way, first of all, the crisscross patterns, and all of a sudden, boom, crisscross patterns like that, and all of a sudden the whole sky is cloudy.
Yeah.
How is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
No rain in sight, no rain on the weather report, and boom, we're having it. In 2008, it was China, I believe that it was, during the Olympic ceremonies, Beijing, they shot seeds into the clouds and made it rain early and controlled the weather that way.
Sure.
And if they're doing that back...
They can do that. I mean, there's no doubt about that. In fact, the government has made it readily available to the public that they can do that. But it's the contrails that are the concern here, because a lot of people think it doesn't necessarily have to do with the weather, but it also has to do with population control. It has to do with controlling people's psyches. I mean, and I remember seeing some people in LA once who were claiming that it has to do with controlling rioting.
Right.
Yeah.
They're saying it's used as control over the public, and also an assassination machine.
Oh, really?
Right.
Really?
Snowden was talking about that. He said that it was basically a global assassination system, is what HAARP ends up being.
Mind control. Yeah, I mean,
right.
Yeah, I can see it being mind control. Now, what do they mean by assassination system?
Well, if you can control somebody's mind, you can make them do anything you want.
Well, yeah, okay, but if you're talking about blanketing an entire area, though, that's what I'm wondering about. So everybody's going to be an assassin in the area, or what? What does that mean?
No, they're basically wiping out areas.
Oh, I see.
Basically, if you have too much of a population, you give a bunch of that population cancer and control it. Get rid of it.
I see. Yeah.
Back to the guidestones, the Georgia guidestones. They're limiting, like you said, productivity and having babies. They're also cutting down sex drive and all this other stuff they say. But to me, if they're doing this, it's not working very well right now, is it?
Well, maybe it's just a matter of tempering it. So in other words, it limits the sex drive, or it increases the sex drive, depending on their needs. I don't know. It's a very strange thing, and I mean, like I said, I'm a big believer in science, and so I'm apt to believe that it has something to do with the weather conditions way up there.
I agree.
But you see certain jets and they've got these little tiny contrails coming off of them, and they're just little things. But then I've seen that, and then I've also seen another plane go by it that has these longer chemtrails,
right?
And yeah, see, it's very strange. I'm willing to buy the scientific explanation, but I've seen them both occur at the same time at relatively the same height.
Right.
So I don't know.
And I've heard it's this type of plane, et cetera, et cetera. But when you see close-ups of these planes, it seems like the smoke isn't coming out of the right areas either sometimes, where you would expect them to come from. And I watched a lot of videos on this, and some of the videos are very convincing. Pictures of the videos of them close up, and you can see all 4 engines, but yet there's one trail coming out from like the middle of 2 of the engines.
Right.
Things like that.
Right.
Why is that happening?
Yeah. I once had a friend of mine, we're no longer friends, but I once had a friend of mine, and he was a pilot for United Airlines. And I asked him about this. And I said, what do you know about this? And he says to me straight out, he says, I can't tell you. And I said, well, does that mean you won't tell me or you can't tell me? He says, I can't tell you. Yeah, when somebody says something like that, you got to sit up and go, well, maybe there is something to this whole deal.
Why deny that? Unless you're trying to make a big deal out of something.
Right. And again, I wouldn't say the guy was kind of a down to earth kind of guy, but he wasn't the type to pull bullshit over your eyes either, And so, I mean, if he's fearing for his job, if he releases information about this, it kind of makes you wonder, So I don't know.
Well, one of the things I saw going around too recently about this is the picture of Trump touring a plane, and there's all these canisters around him.
I saw that picture, and I think it's been photoshopped, actually.
No, actually, it's not photoshopped. That's actually real.
Well, hang on, because I've seen that same picture without him in it.
I have too.
Before Trump was around.
But he actually did go and tour these things, and what that is he was touring is it's a plane that's being tested. What those big containers are is they're water, and they use it to transfer water to different sides of the plane and make different weights, like passengers and luggage, and things like that would do as they're testing a fuselage of an upcoming plane that they've just designed.
Okay.
So that's what it really is. So yes, it is a picture of him in there, and yes, those planes do have those things, but that's what it is they're touring. It's an actual mechanical factory that makes these planes, and they're doing testings on them.
Why was he touring this? You think he had better things to do, like golf?
Why is he? Yeah, really. Maybe if he stayed on the golf course even a little more, it'd still cost us money, but maybe it'd save a few things. But yeah, so I saw that going around. It's like, at least that was easily explained.
Yeah.
You search a couple things. I encourage you people, search the internet. You see something like this, look up in the internet real quick, and you'll find the answers usually pretty quick. Now, if you don't want to believe that and say, well, that's what they're telling us, it really is a plane that does do chemtrails, okay, you can go that way too. But it made logical sense with the explanation.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so there's not a lot to talk about with this, but I do want to touch on, and we're going to do an episode on this subject in the future at some point. But tell me about HAARP, HAARP, because evidently that's a weather controlling system as well.
Right, that's the weather controlling
system. But it's kind
of
worldwide.
Right, that they are using that, and they've admitted it to. I was watching a thing, Steve Brennan, I think his name was, where he said that they're going to actually want to take that type of machine and put particles in the air to seed the clouds to prevent the sun from coming through, the heat from the sun. Okay. And basically save us from overheating ourselves due to the non-global warming that's happening. But yeah, and if he's admitting that we could do something like that, who says we can't do more?
Yeah, right.
We always know that we're way far ahead, more ahead than they let us know.
Well, some people are claiming that HAARP is even controlling things like hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff like that, and even whether it's happening across the world, and they're saying that they're using it to their tactical advantage, is for their armed forces and whatever else. So yeah, I don't know. That's going to require a lot of research into HAARP, I think. But yeah, we are definitely going to do a show on that.
Well, a lot of people are blaming this whole weather control, and they're putting the aluminum up into the air as on autism too.
Right, I've heard that, but I mean, there are so many conspiracy theories surrounding autism. So it's really just one of a plethora of reasons.
We could probably do a show just on that.
Oh, most definitely. I'd like to have my wife on.
Autism conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I'd like to have my wife on for that show actually, because I mean she no longer does, but she used to teach kids with autism. You know, this year she's going into Gen Ed, but yeah, for the past 4 years I think it is, she's been teaching kids with autism. You know, young kids, and they could be a handful, dude. Oh my God, you know, the stories she would come home with. But
well, one of the interesting things I found out too about weather control when I was looking all into this was that 32 states already have laws in place about weather control.
Insofar as like what? I mean,
well,
that you
Nevada,
can't?
right? Nevada, if you look at theirs, it all basically tells you that you need a permit to actually do any type of weather control.
Okay, you need a permit. The government doesn't need a permit.
Well, it also says that they have the right to use any facilities that they need to use, including schools, and they also have the right to do any testing that needs to be done. In other words, they're saying that they're allowing, if chemtrails were true, they would be allowing it because they're doing testing.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, it's chapter 544 if you guys want to look this up.
544. I will look that up. That's wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Hey, before we get out of here today, because there's really not a whole lot more to talk about it this, unless you've got something.
Well, yeah,
more.
one of the other things I thought was interesting is that there's a lot of cleanses out there.
Cleanses,
and so you get rid of all this stuff. I forgot to leave my phone out. Sorry, guys. If you take a bath and fill it with Epsom salt, it's like a half a cup per pound.
Okay.
And a half a cup of olive oil. And you bathe in it for 40 minutes. It will take out the toxins from the chemtrails and let the pure Epsom salt type stuff get into you.
Okay.
Saying there is actually cures out there for this, in case you're afraid.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, going back to my doubts about this thing, I don't know if we should be paranoid about this or not. It just seems to me that, I mean, the science makes sense, but again, like I said, I mean, you can witness this, and I've witnessed this many times here in Nevada. You know, and you can see one plane that is at a certain height, and another plane that's at a certain height, and basically the same height, and both are releasing. One's releasing a contrail, the other one's releasing what you would consider a chemtrail. I don't know, man. I don't necessarily buy the government explanation behind this, or the scientific explanation.
Well, the other thing that makes me think that I can't put it past them is, one, look at all the things we've seen about tests that have been done and things put in water before and tried on different cities that they've actually admitted to back in the older days. And how about the time where they were going to release the gay bomb during war?
And I never heard about that.
Supposedly a hormonal thing that they were going to release chemical warfare to make people gay.
Increase the gay agenda.
Oh my God! It's just ridiculous, the conspiracy theories out there, but that is actually in the books.
Unbelievable. God Almighty, the things that people will come up with! I swear to God, you know. And I think, you know, we're saying the gay agenda. It really, in my opinion, it comes down to the conservative agenda. When you're talking about the gay bomb, my God, you know, wise up, people. Jesus. Hey, folks, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We have pages there. We're on Facebook a lot. So if you want to get a hold of us and you want to keep up with us, Facebook is the way to go. We also have a merch page, and you can find that over at TeePublic, and I'll drop a link to that on the bottom. And also, we're looking for people to be guests on the show. So if you have had a paranormal experience or an experience with UFOs or aliens or ghosts or Bigfoot or whatever, what have you, I'm going to drop a link to at the bottom of the page. It's at our website. What you need to do is just go there, fill out this short 4-questionnaire form and submit it, and we will get back to you within a day about it and get you on the show. So if you want to be a guest on the show, just be our guest. So, but anyway, what do you say we get out of here? I'm making chicken parmesan tonight.
Can you say it though?
Chicken parmesan. So yeah, I'm making that tonight. So I gotta get done with this and get it edited and get on that. So what do you say we get out of here for the day?
Sounds good.
All right, folks. Until next time, keep thinking and question everything.
Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe and click that little bell so you can get a reminder every time we upload a new episode.